Guys, it's been a couple days, but we finally got the material in for that knife build that we was talking about. First and foremost, I want to say I appreciate each and every one of you that have subscribed to the channel. And I ask any of the newer viewers that have subscribed, that aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Anyways, without further ado, let me show you the materials we're going to use in today's video. And all the materials that I do use will be linked in the description below, from the metal, the handles, not the wood handle part, that's just some firewood that I used, but the sander, the saw, whole 9 yards, everything will be in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. Steel we're going to be using in today's video is 1095 high carbon steel. This come off of Amazon from a reputable seller, has good reviews, and this is what I want to use. This is an 1/8 inch thick, and it'll make the perfect bushcraft knife. And the bushcraft knife that I showed you guys is actually made out of this same steel. I was also able to pick up some liners, some handle liners, and I think in today's video we're going to be using the red liners because I really like them red liners. So we're going to use that. And then this is a piece of firewood that's been in the shop drying out that I cut down for probably 2 or 3 years ago. I did that and it's just been sitting, so I figured what better use than to use it today. Also, I have my template that I use on all the knives that I build. I've got this template, several others, but this is the design we're going for. And you guys can find templates on Google that you can print out, cut out of paper, and then trace on a piece of wood or something for a hard template. But this is the template. This is what we're using. Without further ado, let's get right into this build, guys, and I really hope you enjoy, and as always, subscribe. When I build these bushcraft knives, I like to keep my template as high up as I can get it and as far over as I can get it, so I don't have to cut as much material off. So I'll put it there. I'll go ahead and trace that. Go ahead and hold it on the same thing. I want to give you guys a step-by-step video on how I do this, because I know there's some guys in the comments that want to attempt this, and it's very well possible with time and very cheap equipment. We're not using super high dollar equipment here, guys. It's that easy. We got our profile laid out here, and the total blade length is going to be, and the blade edge is going to start there. It's going to be about 4.5 inches long for a cutting blade, and then the actual total of the knife is going to be about 8.5 inches long. So let's go ahead and get this cut, get all this cut out, and we'll go from there. Got the rough template cut out. We're gonna have to finish the rest of this off with the sander. I use a Harbor Freight 1-inch belt sander, and it gets the job done. We're gonna use it to clean this blade up, get the profile we want. Just follow the black lines, and then we'll work on our edge. And that edge is actually a lot easier than a lot of people think, and I'm gonna show you how here in just a moment. While I'm doing all this sanding, I just want to jump on here real quick and tell you, your eyes are important. Your eyes are very important. You only have 2 eyeballs. You mess them up, you ain't gonna see nothing. I wear some gloves when I'm doing this just because the metal gets kind of hot. I picked this up at Harbor Freight for nothing. Get you some. Your eyes are worth more than a piece of metal. There's something about watching a piece of steel become a blade. Absolutely love it. Super satisfying to be able to turn a piece of metal into this. I know it's not a knife yet, but look at it. You can already tell it's going to be amazing. So yeah, as you guys seen, we sanded the profile out with the belt sander, and then I'm taking the flats of this and holding this down, moving it so that we can get the nice lines this way and clean that material up a little bit so we can move on to our knife hole, our handle holes, and then we'll get to this edge. We're getting there. I got a little nick right here. I need to get that out with the grinder. But other than that, man, this is turning out great, guys. Really great. I kind of swelled that out in the back, so I have a nice little swell in the back there. But yeah, I think this is gonna be perfect, y'all. Let's get back to it. So guys, we're going to be using this hollow tubed brass tube, 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to get a 1/4 inch drill bit, and I'll use it to drill all 3 of my holes here. And we'll get on with it. This looks super nice. I love the way the handle's shaped. I got that down, and I made sure to get as many lines going this way. I got the nicks out of it. So as you guys can see, we're pretty clean with just straight lines with the 120 grit abrasive there. Sandpaper, and now I'm going to go ahead and move on to my main knife holes and move on to, because we're going to be drilling our holes with a 1/4 inch drill bit inside this knife. And we're just going to be using the Harbor Freight Central Machinery 5-speed miniature drill press for this. So as you guys can see, you don't need super high dollar equipment to make a bushcraft knife. Let's get to it. Titanium bit really eats through that metal like it's nothing. And this is some super hard metal. It didn't come annealed. It was still hard. This metal was still hard when I got it. They didn't anneal it. So there's our 2 pin holes. Let's go ahead and get our lanyard hole made. I'm gonna have to sand these down here maybe. Nope, there we go. Just take it slow. Cut nice and slow with it. There you go. If you need to, depending on the metal you're using, you can put a little oil on that. But that looks good. I'm happy with that. I put all these little divots in it, and what that does, it'll allow the epoxy to really have something to adhere to, and really allow it to stick to it better. Next thing I like to do is take my deburring tool and deburr my holes. Super happy with how this guy's turning out. We got the blade really nice lines going on both directions, on both sides, going one direction. We got our handle holes, our lanyard hole, and then we also put some divots in there to help that handle and the epoxy we're going to use to really adhere to this piece of metal. Super happy with how this is turning out. Now let's go ahead and put our edge on it, and I'm going to be using a jig for that. That jig is super cheap. This is the jig, and it ran me like 30 bucks on Amazon. I'll have a link for this in the description below as well. That's how I hook up my jig, just like so, with the clamp. Make sure that that blade, as you can see, make sure it's straight across there, because as you can see on this side, we have little guys to put this on. I've got it resting on that curve right there in between them two, as straight as I can get that, okay? Make sure your edge is level with the top of this jig. This is a really handy jig. I actually have my jig set. I put lines in it, and I know that that's what I want it set at for my bushcraft knives. So this jig only costs 30 bucks. You adjust the wing nut, you can adjust your angle however you want, but it works really good for getting them really nice blade profiles on your blades, and it makes it a lot quicker. I'm gonna put a newer belt on here, just a little more aggressive, and we'll get to putting the edge on this knife blade. So guys, just real quick, I wanted to show you the setup on this Harbor Freight sander, what I did to it to customize it so I can utilize this for doing blades. And not only that, but to have a bigger top on it. The top that comes on it's real small. All I did, took a piece of plywood, cut a big square out of it, mounted the sander to it, and then just built this little base right in front of it and mounted it straight to that piece of wood. It works really well. The only thing you want to make sure of is make sure these are 90 degrees. I could have built this differently, that it would have been better, but it works great for what I use it for. It's sturdy, it ain't going nowhere, and it gives me a base that's roughly about 1.5 feet long. And then I made this probably 8 inches or so, 6 to 8 inches. So works really well. Another thing I did was I got a longer back plate for this. As you guys can see, the back plate was originally down to here. I took a piece of metal and welded it to where it went all the way up to here. So very easy customization, and this slides forward and back so you can adjust the tension on your belt itself. But I would highly recommend doing some customizations like this. As you see, I went ahead and made it to where this back plate went down below where my opening was, but it goes almost about 1/2 inch off that wheel. So it's perfect. But yeah, just in case you guys were wondering, I figured I'd go ahead and answer your question. All right guys, we got something that's looking like a knife here. It's looking great. The next step on this blade is going to be heat treat. But let me tell you something about when you're doing that edge that'll really help you whenever it does come to the heat treatment process. Let's get a little closer up of this edge, see how well that jig did. That's a pretty nice bevel. Now what I'm really attempting to do, if I can get it to focus, is make this even right in the middle. Make that even, and then our point. I can't get it to focus here. Let's see. There you go. Try to get that point even on both sides. If it's not even, it's just gonna look strange. Right now we got that pretty even. But as you guys can see, we didn't take this blade all the way down. I want to leave that kind of thick, so whenever we go to heat treat it, it just doesn't melt that. Because we're going to have to heat this blade up now. We're going to have to harden the blade, and then after we get this blade hardened, we'll do the tempering cycle. We'll get that edge refined, and we'll be able to move on. Be able to get the handle on there and really make this thing pop, turn it into a knife. Let me know in the comments what you guys think so far. And as always, subscribe, guys. Let's go ahead and get back into this build. Well, guys, we got it ready for heat treat and everything. But before we get on to the heat treat process, I wanted to show you another one that I just started. This is my bigger one. I just started this bigger one. I love the size of it. I love everything about it. But it's going to be like, these are going to be my two. This is my normal size bushcraft knife, and this is my giant bushcraft knife. So really like the way this one comes out too. I'm going to be building an even smaller one than this as well. Without further ado, let me go ahead and show you guys how to heat treat these. And there's 3 steps to heat treating this 1095 high carbon steel. First and foremost, we want to heat this up and normalize it. Normalize it with 3 steps, and then after normalization, we'll harden it, and then we'll do our tempering cycles. But I'll get more in depth to that when we get to the forge. So guys, this first annealing cycle is going to be roughly 1600 degrees. I use a digital thermometer to measure the temperature of the steel. So I get this one up to 1600 degrees, and we'll go on from there. So guys, I can now hold this in my hand. It's ready for the second and third normalization process. Let's get on with it. Got the big one in. All right guys, so we got the blades normalized. We've done 3 normalization cycles, and we let them sit and cool to the touch and then put them in each time. Now what I've got going on is I put my oil inside of this old oil can. What we have here is some canola oil, and I have one of them little ethanol oil chafing burners that we're using to heat this oil up. We want this oil between 120 to 130 degrees for quenching. The actual hardening temperature for this 1095 steel, we're going to heat this up to about 1500 degrees and let it soak for only about 10 to 15 seconds after we hit that point. You don't want to soak it too long, because if you over soak, you'll overheat it and ruin that grain structure. And the whole point in annealing these blades was to pull that grain structure in a little tighter and make it more stable. So we're going to heat that up to 1500 degrees, let it soak for about 10-15 seconds, and we'll pop it over here in the oil and harden it. And hopefully it skates on a file. And also, real quick guys, if you guys like videos like this, you guys like to see how a bushcraft knife is made, if you guys want to see some bushcraft camping, pretty much anything, we're going to do all kinds of stuff on the channel. If you like it, comment, like, and subscribe. I really do hope you guys enjoy these videos. If I leave anything out, let me know and I'll answer your questions in the comments below. Guys, I just want to show you real quick the difference between a softened piece of metal, the sound of it, and a hardened piece of metal. As we can see, it digs into that soft metal, and on the hardened piece of metal that we have, we can hear it skating. That's what you want. You want it to skate across. Well guys, we now have good hardened blades. Let's go ahead and take these blades in, clean them up a little bit, get them in the oven. So guys, while we were normalizing and heat treating this, we got a slight warp in it. You can see this one stayed pretty straight. There's a little warp in it. It's actually a lot more warped than I thought. But I'm going to show you guys a little jig. If you do get a bend in your knife, don't worry about it. It ain't a big deal. I'm going to show you a little jig that I utilize in the tempering process to get this back down to a normalized temperature. Look at that. They're both pretty warped. I'm going to show you a little jig I like to use whenever I put these in the oven to get these dudes right back to straight again. All right, guys, what we have is 2 pieces of angle that are straight. You want them to be straight. You take your knives, I'm going to put them handle to handle, put them in there, and put this other piece of angle over. Get you some clamps. Run this clamp down as far as you can. Clamp it nice and tight. The second clamp on, I put it up near the front here. And this will make that blade very, very straight whenever we pull this out of the oven. Let's go ahead and preheat the oven at 400 degrees. And we're gonna let this sit in the oven for 2 hours. Well, guys, I got it out of heat treat. As you guys can see, we got that perfect straw color to it, which is what you want in your knife blade. You want a nice straw color. You don't want it to be like a dark blue or purple or anything like that. You want them to have that straw look to them. This still's, it's got to be pretty good still. It didn't have a lot of decarb, didn't have a lot of flakes, nothing whenever I heated it. It stayed pretty clean. But anyways, let's go ahead and get these blades cleaned up and make this thing a knife, y'all. I got this pretty cleaned up. Looks pretty good right off the belt. That's a 120 grit belt I took that to. This is the scary part. Well, guys, I'm gonna call that a success. We got them edges looking good on both sides, that bevel. It's pretty sharp right off the belt. We still need to do a little touch-up work to it, but right now all I'm worried about is getting this to a more satin, shinier finish, smoother, and then put some handles on this dude. Let's get right with it. I'm loving it so far. Turns out great. I didn't overheat it when I was doing this bevel. I didn't use gloves. You want to touch it constantly. Make sure it don't get too hot on you. Gets too hot, it's toast. But yeah, I can feel that edge on there already. I think this is going to be a good knife. Our handle material. Got these 2 pieces of wood that I sanded real nice and flat on both sides. And I got these liners here. So we're going to go ahead and get them guys glued up. You always want to make sure you sand your liners really well so this glue really sticks. These liners come super smooth, so I always sand them. This is just 150 grit. You can use something a little more grippy if you'd like. I've never had any issues with it though. Take our pieces. I'm going to set this in the middle of this wood because I am going to utilize this wood as a clamp. Put that right in the center on both of them. Press it down in there pretty good. Make sure we got good coverage. We're going to clamp this other piece of wood on top and let it sit. Sandpaper we're going to use, we got this off the belt at 120. Next we're going to do 220, 320, 400, 600, and 800. After 400 grit, I'm going to start using water for 6 and 8. And our knife blade here ought to turn out real well. Now I got some 320 grit. I like to set it down and pull it. I'm up to our 400 grit. Take a little bit of water, put on this blade. And we're gonna start doing this with water now. Moving up to 600 grit. I'm really wanting to see how this turns out when we hit it with that 800. And I'm gonna call it good at 800. Normally 800 will give you a pretty nice, smooth, really nice finish on your knife blade. Now at 800 grit. Get my blade wet. Let's go ahead and smooth this guy out real nice. I want to give some of y'all a warning. This thing makes your hands hurt. Just constantly sanding. Your hands are gonna hate you for a while. But it's all worth it in the end. Man, this is turning out real nice. It's getting that satin look that I want. And I love it. I'm just going for a satin finish. I ain't really going for like mirror finish, but satin finish and I'll be happy. Something real satisfying about building your own knife, especially whenever you go to use it. It's a fairly long process, but once you get the hang of it and you've done a bunch of them, it's just like second nature, you know? So, I love doing it. There's a satisfaction in it. And I'm gonna call that good on the 800. And I just use this little aluminum block. Let's go ahead and see how this turned out. I have to say so myself. I'd say that looks pretty nice compared to this. It's got that nice satin look to it. Looks great. I'm gonna do the other side and then we'll pop these handles on here. And I'm gonna get a sheath built for this guy also. Let's get on with this, guys. Really liking this. Guys, we got our liners done. I kind of cleaned them up on the edges there. And what I want to do now is go ahead and get this where I want it on this blade. And all I'm going to do is trace this. I'm thinking somewhere like right in there. Yeah, about right there should be just fine. So, do it about right there. Bring it right there. Whoops. Boom. Just like so. Get this cut out on a bandsaw. And then we'll mirror it on this side, so we'll have two of the exact same pieces. So guys, I'm going to show you a little trick that I use when making my holes. I want these perfectly centered for this knife. So let me go ahead and show you how we do that. I put the dot there, but now we need to set this guy on top of here and figure out how thick it is. I'm just going to stand this up here and cut it a little longer than a quarter. Put that piece of wood back there because it keeps this from splitting out real bad. So now I need to lower my top a little bit, because what we need to do is bring our knife up here and stick that pin in it that I just cut. Nice. Then you want to pin it just like so. Okay, now you have it even here. Oh, I need to put this pin on this side. But other than that, that's how you line them up. And you can now flip it, line your holes up, and drill them. Like I always say, y'all, mix your epoxy thoroughly. So guys, here she is, the completed knife. Look at them liners. Love how them liners really pop. I put the hollow tubes in there. You can lash this onto a stick and use it as a spear or anything. And then I just put this little dangler on it. But I absolutely love it, guys. I don't know, you know, it just so satisfying to see the complete product. It went from a piece of steel to this. Man, look at that. I might be biased, but I think that's a nice knife. Let me take you outside and get you a better view. The lighting is a little better out there. Guys, look at that. That thing turned out awesome. Love, love, love. As you can see, the video you see on it right now is exactly how it looks in person. And I love it. The lighting out here does perfect justice to this thing. I only wish you could feel it in your hands. The way this handle is, I did the Coke bottle shape. It feels great, man. Can't wait to get out in the bush and use this. But with a good knife, it always needs a sheath. So, in today's video, we're gonna do the sheath as well. Let's get in the shop. Let's get a sheath made for this guy.
Thanks to the arrest of a
So guys, there we have it, the completed sheath. Nothing too crazy, it's pretty simple. I'm not really that great at bushcraft sheaths, at leather work. But there we go. Nice blade. You guys already seen it out in the sun. Absolutely love the way it looks out there. And yeah, we got a good blade now with a sheath to go with it. And I love it. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely leave me a like, comment, and as always, y'all, hit that subscribe button for me. Until then, I'll see y'all on the next one.